Destiny. That's a big word, right? And I have been thinking that, do we have a path just built for each one of us? And I have never believed in destiny in that sense that there is a clear path for you and you kind of just need to find it. But I believe that all of us have something that we're kind of built to do, or we have more than one thing that we are good at, and those are the things that we should pursue. And for me, working in IT, I did for 12 years. That was not for me. It became clear, and when you are doing something that is not really part of your identity, it causes this conflict. So you are not working or pursuing something that is based on your values, or it is not based on anything that is deep inside of you. So then the question becomes, and I have seen many of my friends and colleagues, basically the people in my circle, I have seen many telling me or thinking about that, if I'm not gonna do this, then what should I do? What could I do? So it is maybe it's a question of our time, because like for me, I live in Finland. I was born in the early 80s, and basically there was a depression in the early 90s. The interest rates were like 15% and people were unemployed, and that was a tough time for our nation. But apparently our family was not really affected by the depression, luckily. So both my mom and dad, they had their jobs they kept their jobs, and even though the interest rates spiked like crazy, then they also declined quite fast, and they had a huge mortgage on the house, but somehow they survived. And I think so they struggled, but they were not laid off, and survived rather easy, or relatively easy. And so that was the early 90s. But like for me, I never noticed that if things were really tough, because we always had food on the table. Maybe the only thing I noticed that my my birthday presents were quite lousy, to be honest. And I kind of felt that my parents were also maybe a little bit embarrassed, because they had to give me these, well, cheap and crappy presents. But well, now that I say it, I know it doesn't really matter, but it is a big thing as you are a child, and as you're very, very young, that birthday is kind of a big thing, and you are expecting kind of a nice present. But overall, my childhood was great. My parents are great, and we had a house. It was an old house, but it was a good house, great area. Schools were kind of okay, and I had good friends, and I didn't really have to struggle at all. So when I was really young, and then growing up to young adulthood, I have always kind of been okay, and I'm really grateful for that. And but so things have been kind of okay or good for most of my friends too. Stable families, school has always been okay, or at least decent, and Most of my friends have gone to a university or something like that, and they have been working their whole lives basically, almost all of them, and like myself included, except for now, for the past 6 weeks or so, I have been unemployed because I quit. But maybe what I'm trying to say is that things have been fairly well for most of us, people my age. And I see that because things are fairly well, then we start to think about more of this, that what is something that we could really pursue that would give us more fulfillment. And now that you have been kind of working first odd jobs here and there, and then you have been kind of building this career in your real job that you have a degree on and everything, the first 5 years or so go by and you just do it. But maybe after that you turn 35, and then you're starting to close in on your 40s. At that point, I guess it becomes quite natural to start thinking about things like, hey, is this it? Like, is this everything that the work has to offer for me? And then you start thinking that maybe I should do something else. Maybe I could do something else. This is something I have been thinking for a long time already, but a lot of people are thinking about it. I know it because I have heard it so many times now. But it is tough, and then I think you have to know yourself really well and ask these questions from yourself, that who I really am, and what is something I could do that supports it, because you know that if you can work on something that is close to your values and close to your core and close to your identity, then you can have fulfillment from your job. And most people that I know, even though they have a job they don't really like or like, their lives are still pretty good, because the work we do now, at least us working, or us who used to work in the information industry, let's say, they are quite comfortable jobs. I mean, it can be mentally draining, but it's not physically draining, or it's not, sure, you can have back problems and so, like myself, but still it's fairly comfortable. You can work remotely, the salary is good and so on, and the salary is not a small thing, because then it gives you this comfort for your free time, and you have a lot of free time. You have the weekends off, you have the evenings off, so you can do hobbies and see your friends and go out and so on, so you don't have to struggle financially. So your balance in life can feel kind of okay, even though the work is not giving you this deeper meaning. But so this is something I have been thinking about, and now there are, if you think more deeply about destiny or your life's purpose, so to say, I feel like there's no clear destiny. I don't believe in that, but I believe that there is this some kind of like a force around us, and we maybe it's the universe, maybe it's the God, maybe it's something else you want to call it, but I believe that we get these hints. I believe that we are told these things, or we hear these things throughout our lives, and the question becomes, are we paying attention in those moments? And Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but I have these two things that I have stuck on my mind that I remember, and one was I was traveling as a young guy with my friend in Southeast Asia, and we were in Cambodia, which was quite a rough place, a really rough place. I wonder how things are there at the moment, because it's been like, I don't know, 15 years since I've been there. So you could see that the country was developing fast, but it was still, you know, the history is very rough, and you could really see it there. But anyways, one evening I remember we usually went everywhere with my friend, you know, drinking, eating, whatever we did. We always went with each other. But for some reason, I remember one evening I went out alone. I don't remember, maybe my friend was sick or had a hangover or something like that. But anyways, I went out by myself, and I just thought I'm gonna get some dinner. And I was just wandering around. I didn't have any place on my mind. I don't think we had any smartphones back then that I could just Google something. What's the TripAdvisor? What's the best place? So, and I think that is, as a side note, that is actually a very good thing, that you just kind of go somewhere and try to find something without looking up everything online first. But anyway, I found this. I think it was like a hotel, clearly a better stand than the normal or like the crappy one we were staying at. But there was this nice outside dining area, and I thought it was quite empty, so I thought, oh, this might be good as any, and I went in, and there was this one guy, some years older than me, and I saw him, and we kind of looked at each other and a little nod, and for some reason I was certain, I was 100% certain that guy is Finnish. I guess we have this thing that we kind of relate as a nation. And I was very close to just saying hi in Finnish, which is moi or hey. I was very close to just saying that, because I just felt like that guy's Finnish for sure. But I said hi or something, and then we changed a couple of words in English, and well, it became quite obvious that we were both Finnish, and so I sat down, and we had a dinner together. But this guy had an interesting story. He was working for the Red Cross, and he was not living in Finland anymore. I think he lived somewhere in Europe, and and he told me about his job as an aid worker. And I don't remember much, but I remember he was working in logistics, and I remember one thing he said, that this is not a job for everybody, but it really suits me. And now, after all these years, this spring was the first time I had been thinking about this, doing it before, but this spring I applied for the Red Cross, for the aid work, or for the catastrophe unit they have. And this is a story that has been on the back of my mind, and like 15 years later I still remember it, and it has a meaning for me, and it was one of the reasons that I finally did apply. And like, is there a deeper meaning in this encounter I had with this Finnish guy in Cambodia almost 15 years ago? I think so. I think it does. You can always say that it's just a coincidence, and you know, these things happen. You meet people when you travel and when you're backpacking, and yeah, that is true. That's true. But I like to think that maybe that was a hint that was given to me, that remember this encounter, and maybe later in life you can use this as an example. And now thinking about next steps in my life, I am actually, let's say, if I could pick what I could do next, that would be what I would do next, is work for the Red Cross. And I think it would suit me very well. And obviously I know you don't really know it before you're there, before there's, let's say there's an earthquake and you're sent there to help. Then you know if it's for you, because it is obviously very different from an office job. But I would really like to try, and this is one of the things that happened during my travels that I still remember. So clearly we have these encounters and stuff that happens to us during our lives, and I think it is up to us to either take action right away or then take action later on. But so yeah, I don't believe in the clear path ready-made for us. Obviously we have to make it for ourselves. And another story is, this was also in one of the trips to Asia. This was in Thailand. I remember we were in this, it was this one island that a lot of people go, and there was this diving school that was, at least a couple of the instructions were Finnish, and everybody kind of knew that place if you Googled it, and or if you were going there, you kind of knew that if somebody was there, they had been there. And so everybody kind of, or most Finnish, or a lot of Finnish people went to that place specifically, because it is easier to talk Finnish with the instructor. You're more comfortable and so on. But anyway, our instructor, he was a Finnish guy, older than we were, with my friend, and we discussed life and this and that, and he told me that he had been in a very similar situation where I was just a few weeks or a few months ago. The capital is Helsinki, is in the southern part of Finland by the ocean, which is kind of a bad spot for a capital city because all the roads come either from the north or east or west. There is nothing is below that but the ocean. So there is for the size of the cities, there is quite a bad traffic, because Helsinki is not a big city. But anyway, there's these highways come basically from the north, and then you have a couple of these ring roads that go in a circle. And the worst place is the ring road. It's called Ring 1, basically, Ring Road 1. And it can get very bad in the traffic or rush hour, and it was bad already 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, but now it can be very, very bad. But anyway, this our scuba diving instructor, this Finnish guy, I remember him like just why basically telling us why he was there, and he kind of gave this outburst that he said something in the sorts of like, I was sitting at the office next to this ring road, and everybody was complaining, the customers were complaining that nothing is working, and then I was stuck in the ring road traffic. And then a few weeks ago I was going to the office, I was stuck in the ring road in the traffic, and yeah, this story popped on my mind that like I kind of understood. Now I understood why that guy had gone to Thailand and be a scuba diving instructor, because he was just fed up, and I was fed up. I didn't become a scuba diving instructor, but I might become a aid worker, hopefully. But this was another story, and it's so this is why I believe that something is there, something is around us, there is something bigger. Because years later these encounters kind of connect heavily in my own personal life, and I just think that's quite amazing actually, and it is very, very cool. And now I think that I just have to make my own path now going forward. Maybe I'm at a crossroad and I really have to think hard and make decisions. But these stories, my personal stories and my personal history and what has happened, maybe they can kind of help here, and they will help me. And these are the types of things I have been thinking about life and destiny, and you know, your own personal journey and the path going forward. And I'm sure everybody has these stories, and I'm sure there are more of these. Like I have more of those stories and encounters, but I don't remember them. Maybe they were not meaningful, or maybe I was just not paying attention. And I think these opportunities, we miss out on them if we are not paying attention. And obviously we can't remember everything and we can't keep our focus all the time, but maybe some of us are, or maybe we don't have that, our direction is not clear because we just haven't been paying attention. And I am not sure what happens next, but it is, for me, it has been very, very satisfying and very interesting thinking about the past. What has happened, what have I done, where have I been, and how everything kind of maybe can connect to where I'm at now and where I'm gonna go in the future. And that's pretty cool. And I guess that's the end of the story hour for now. And I hope that if you have figured out your thing or your calling in life, I am happy for you. And if you haven't, I hope you do. And I think we all have the possibility to do that, but it's not easy. So, but don't lose faith. Don't lose hope, and don't lose your faith. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.